I had the chance to leave late on Sunday. Duarte was kind enough to show us around the town. At some point we were eating ice cream in some square under some bridge in Lisbon. And we were watching some kids skateboard. They were very young. They were trying to do the first steps in this great sport. So we just spent a little time looking at them. At some point, I turned to Duarte and I say, it's so hard to convince these teenagers when they're young and when they become first-time voters about the importance of politics. These kids just hate politics. They hate all of it. They hate politics. Duarte turns to me and says, and I hate skateboarding. This made me think, you know, maybe there is nothing we can do about it, and maybe we just have to live with it and move on. Some months later, I attended Onned Congress in Oslo. A lot of debating there, a lot. Every 2 minutes, I think, a young Norwegian was taking the floor, defending all the way his position, debating all the way. At some point, I hear a very young voice. I turned to the podium. I could hardly see a face behind the podium. I turned to the screen wall and see a name. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Hakon Andreas Fridal. He was around 14 or 15, making a tremendous speech, trying to do his best to convince all the delegates in the room. This is the most inspiring thing that I have ever seen. This kid believed in his proposal more than anyone else in the room, and you could feel it right here. And most importantly, you could feel that this kid believed in politics. This kid chose, instead of spending his free time on school being in a school band or playing never-ending games, to do politics. And this teenager was a better debater than most of the politicians I've seen in the European Parliament. It's true. So what does this mean? Are teenagers in Lisbon more cool than the ones in Oslo? I don't know. Are Norwegian politics more attractive than Portuguese politics? Maybe. But the real question here is, what are we doing yet? What do we do to inspire young people? What do we do for this generation to unhate politics today? The truth is that young people in Europe don't know about us. Even MEPs don't know about us. Even some EPP group MEPs don't know about us. You're members of your organizations. They just know that there's a YEP thing, and we have this international guy who is in charge of this YEP thing, and that's it. We cannot go on like this. So what can we do? YEP has to find its way to the outside world. We will achieve nothing important if we keep staying within the limits of our own events. We will convince nobody if we keep the political fight between us and we don't find ways to confront the socialists, the liberals, the Greens, the Eurosceptics, the populists. We will inspire no one if the only audience for our policies is just the YEP Council and the EPP. We have the impression that YEP is the feeling that we have here every time we come together in some event. In my opinion, YEP is not just what is happening here. YEP is what is happening in your countries, in your local branches, every time a young member joins our family. YEP is what happens when we campaign with our hearts for another country's national election like we do today and yesterday for our friends from YEP. YEP is what happens when the European flag, this flag with the yellow stars, is waving high in the hands of your members. And this is all happening because of you, not because of our meetings here. It's happening because of the work you do back home, not because of the council meetings of YEP, and you should be proud of it. And our weakness. Somehow we have managed to disconnect these two realities, these two worlds. Your members feel disconnected from YEP. Does this remind you of something? Isn't this exactly what the Brussels system is blamed for by the citizens? Isn't this what citizens hate today in Europe? This is a problem. That our members feel disconnected from YEP. And there are people that I meet today, and they know about the things we do in YEP, and they want to do something for YEP. And they want to be part of it. And these people exist. They exist in your organizations. They're hiding, perhaps, in your organizations. We ignore them. And they are thirsty for action. They love what we do. And they hate the fact that they cannot be a part of it. I say, let's make them a part of it. Let's give them the space to do something more and beyond the council meetings we have. This is why I proposed the YEP local. This is why I proposed the League of Young Voters. This is why I proposed the Young Writers Forum, the open delegations, the youth plenary. Because YEP for me is an organization for organizations, not a club for international secretaries. And whoever in this room believes that we can keep on going with gatherings every 2 months of 80 people and without any impact of the hard work that we do in YEP back home is making a grave mistake. This is not what will make us win the European elections. This is not what will make people participate, young people participate in the European elections. This mentality of centralization is what is killing Europe year by year. This mentality of closed doors in Brussels, the Brussels system, is what killing the European vision year by year. And maybe politicians in Brussels don't understand this because they don't see it every day. We see it every day. Your members see it every day. And this is exactly why I believe in a YEP that goes to its members, doesn't just wait for their members to come. And I believe we are ready to do that next step. Because YEP stands on solid ground today. And because of the hard work everyone did here. Not just the board, everyone. The podium team, teams inside and outside the board. Everyone here worked very hard to make YEP as it looks today. And together with our president, Csaba, who we all have to thank today with all our hearts, we worked with Csaba, we work day in, day out, week after week, to do new things, to do first-time things, as Csaba said before. Organize them and make them happen. We created these new teams with motivated people from inside and outside the board. We created synergies with politicians in the EU institutions that stand as our political allies today. We made sure that all our members, the things they campaign for, celebrate for, or are proud of, are seen by all other members of our family. And in 2 years we have built a YEP that stands strong, that is more powerful, more respected. A YEP that is not afraid to speak up. A YEP that is now ready to expand. And where YEP stands today is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. And today, we need again to make a choice. We can go back, or we can keep on moving. I think we've come too far to turn back now. We have too many challenges. Everyone here mentioned European elections next year. We have too many challenges we need to face in the next 2 years. We have too many campaigns we need to run. We have too many elections we need to win. We have too many young candidates we need to elect as decision makers. We have too many people we need to convince that we are the right choice for Europe's future. And we need to start today. Today is the moment that marks the beginning of a fight between two sets of mentalities. Do we stand with those who would do anything to get a position, to get in power, later to get in government? Or do we stand with those who would do everything to serve the people that made that possible? Do we exclude those who value easy votes over responsible politics? Or do we give them more arguments to strengthen and increase the populist movements all around Europe? Do we see that Europe needs change if we want our common vision to survive? A Europe where mediocrity is the new revolution. A Europe where citizens forget what our union has done for all of us for the last 6 decades. A Europe where subsidiarity has become an excuse for inefficiency. A Europe where this famous co-decision often turns into co-inability for decision making. And I know, we all know, Benedict said that very well, how hard it is today to defend or even to explain to the young people what is the European vision, to the unemployed young people. But it is now, during the hard times, that we need to show leadership and defend the European vision, because Europe itself was not an easy choice. What our founding fathers did 60 years ago, Konrad Adenauer, Robert Schuman, Alcide de Gasperi, was not an easy choice. The European Parliament, the foundation of the European Parliament, was not an easy choice. The single market was not an easy choice. Even the very foundation of JEP was not an easy choice. For 10 years, young Christian Democrats and young conservatives couldn't agree that we belong together. And it took 10 years of hard negotiations, of very hard decisions, and the leadership of a young member of the Swedish Parliament called Fredrik Reinfeldt, who took the right decision, and he knows more than anyone here that the foundation of JEP was not an easy choice. So let's not have any illusions. Being in politics itself is not an easy choice. It's a very hard choice. So we have to choose who we are. Are we the followers? Are we the leaders? Are we the listeners? Or are we the doers? Do we ask questions? Or do we give answers? And we have to think what kind of answer we give to our friends when they ask us why we're in politics, why we spend our money, our energy, our everything to do politics at this age, when we have so many other things to do as young people. Why, they ask, are you crazy? And we are crazy a little bit. But what makes us spend all our time in politics today? I've got my answer here in JEP. I want to do it for these kids in Lisbon who hate politics and love skateboarding. I want to do it for Andreas in Oslo, who chose to spend his time in politics and not in his school. But I want to do it for my little niece, who tells me always how much she hates politicians more than her teacher at school. I want to do it for her class and the whole generation of European teenagers who will go 18 with more public debt on their shoulders than our generation and our parents together. I want to do it for the most educated generation in the world today that cannot find a job today and they're in politics for that. I want to do it for them. We should do it for them. This is why we're here today. To serve them, to represent them, to stand for them, to make sure that they live tomorrow in a different Europe, because maybe we're not responsible for what Europe we got in our hands, but we are very much responsible for what Europe will give to them. And maybe we cannot change much, but this little we can change, let's do it better than anyone else would. In the end of the day, if the youth of Europe will ask, we will hold the answer. And this answer is our reward. And this is our vote of confidence. Thank you.